Hi, this is Heidi, episode 53, Being Right. Life isn't a spectator sport. Success comes to those who show up every day with a pocket full of courage, grit, and a little sparkle. I'm glad you're here. Well, hello. I really am glad you're here. I know I say that every week, but I really am. Thank you to everyone who is sharing this podcast, sending me notes about how certain topics or stories or concepts are really helping you. Please continue to rate and review on iTunes. I was reading through reviews recently, and I saw one from Sheely's mom that said, "Heidi makes me want to live my best life. Love her insight and ideas." Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I want to dive right into today's topic because I have coached so many people on this recently, and it is the foundation of my first lens in the 5 clarifying lens method that I use with clients. And this is the desire we have to be right, or to make the right choice, or to be right in an argument or in a political debate, to make the right choice for our children's school year, to live in the right neighborhood, to do the right thing, to say the right thing, to steer our children toward the right college. We want to be right. But in doing so, we cause ourselves a whole lot of anxiety, stress, overwhelm, frustration, with a huge topping of insecurity. Okay, the way I picture it and the way I explain it to clients is that our brain is gripping, white knuckling a stick that's like labeled, "I am right." And we only have so much energy to press against that stick, and we drain ourselves by gripping so hard. The result is that we can't see anything else but our own supposedly right opinion. Now, before I go further, I want to explain something really interesting about our brains. More than anything else, our brains want to be right. We make opinions and judgments about things to keep ourselves safe, and it's just easier and requires less brain energy. And remember, we want to conserve brain energy by thinking in black and white, good and bad, all or nothing, which really doesn't serve us a lot, but it's easy. So our brain likes to default to it. And we're programmed to defend ourselves when we feel attacked. So if someone has a different opinion from us, if we aren't controlling our thoughts and emotions, our amygdala thinks we're being attacked, and it flips into fight or flight mode. Now, thousands of years ago, our ancestors had to make the right choices in the few things that they had to do during the day, or else their life really was in danger. So the lower brain's instincts were protective. But now, in 2020, we need to use our higher brain so much more because our life circumstances are advancing at such rapid rates. Think back to when someone aggressively told you that you bought the wrong thing at the store, or that you have the wrong stance on racism, or that your new project at work isn't going to work. You become defensive, fearful, even distrusting. Right? Then a neurotransmitter and a hormone, cortisol, is flooding your brain. Again, it thinks it needs to keep you safe from physical death. What happens is that it also turns off our thoughtful executive functioning brain, our prefrontal cortex, the part of our head where we build trust. We see other people's opinions, where we consciously build security and self-confidence. Our lower brain thinks that we're losing power. It feels shame by being wrong. Well, since the higher brain has shut down and it isn't communicating back that this thing really isn't wrong. And since we don't like that feeling of the rush of cortisol and shame, we develop the need and desire to seek out being right over and over. We like the feeling of being right. We like the feeling of winning the game. Our bodies and minds become addicted to being right because, of course, we want to duplicate that rush of adrenaline and dopamine. But here is the trap, y'all. The real, honest truth. Listen closely. There are a lot of rights. And here's a big secret. You get to decide what's right for you. What your neighbor or sister or mother or the celebrity says is right can be their right, and you get to choose another right. We are so caught in putting people on pedestals and building up evidence drawers of what is right. And you know why? Because we want people outside of us to tell us that we are right. We want society and our families and peers to validate our choices. But that's not their job. They choose what's right for them. They don't know what's going on inside our families, inside our heads, inside our finances, inside our marriage to choose our right. And the only reason we look to outside validation is because we aren't comfortable having our own backs. We aren't taught that there are lots of rights and that we have all the power to decide what is right. That feels like heavy responsibility in our lives, doesn't it? I get it. So many times I want someone else to have that responsibility. We just ordered new carpet for part of our home, and I watched myself fall back into, I have to choose the right brand and the right color, creating this intense white knuckling grip. I wanted the rest of my family to shoulder the responsibility with me, but then I just relaxed in my head. I loosened the grip. Yes, it was a lot of money, but guess what? I told myself over and over, it's just carpet. Of course, I always make the right choice about my home. There are tons of right carpets. This will be perfect. Now, this was after questioning the carpet store owner and getting lots of validation from her. It's always okay to do research. But I also gave myself a timeline to make the choice. See, one of the fears of the perfectionist is not wanting to make choices for this big fear right here, the fear of being wrong. Oh no, what if I choose the wrong carpet? What does that mean about me? Does that mean I'm bad or I make wrong choices or I made a mistake? Am I okay making mistakes? So yes, I'm okay making mistakes. And in this case, I know the carpet example is minor. But I tell you, it's repeated in so much of our heads all day. We have this fear of choosing the wrong and that's going to mean something inherently and very deeply scarring, and it's going to remove some of our worth. That's exactly why many people don't like making decisions. It's why many people don't take risks, why many people won't make changes in their lives, why many people won't pick a new paint color. Now, it is the summer of 2020. Some schools are offering parents the option if they want their children to do all virtual school. Some are offering in person. Our school isn't. But I'm coaching people on this decision. There are other decisions people are wrestling with now regarding this global situation that we're in. And our brains really like making the right choice and making us feel like this is incredibly important. And in some ways, it is important for our health and for our education and even safety. But in reality, the more we build up mental stress and anxiety about the critical nature of the choice, the tighter we hold on to that I am right rod. We create this debilitating anxiety in ourselves, and we block out so many options. We can't see solutions in our peripheral vision that are just as good. This anxiety, it decreases our body's ability to fight off actual, real infection. So we're kind of making ourselves immune compromised just by being so stubborn and opinionated. And another side effect is we look outside of ourselves for validation, and we look to judge other people for their choices because our primitive brain is in fight and defense mode. We see it every day on social media. So our own insecurity breeds judgment and criticism and being offended. And we all don't show up as our best selves when we're knee deep in all that gunk. So how do we loosen this super tight grip on wanting to be right, on feeling we need to be right all the time? Let me help you take those closed-minded blinders off so you can see a little bit more. Now, to go through these steps, I'm going to use one big choice my husband and I had to quickly and unexpectedly make this summer that felt very important at the time. Our teenage sons got in a fist fight in North Carolina while we were on vacation, and unfortunately, our 17-year-old punched the 16-year-old and he broke his hand. And we live in Massachusetts, and our really good HMO health insurance is based here in Massachusetts. He broke his left hand, which is his dominant hand, and he really broke it. He needed surgery to insert pins because of the damage. So we had to decide, along with our insurance deciding, who would be the right surgeon to do the procedure. Where would be the right place? Could he stay in North Carolina? Could the referring doctor from the ER do it? Or which hand specialist should we go to? We started building up so much pressure in our heads about the decision. He's 17. He's athletic. He's a left-handed person. We pride ourselves in having so many good medical options here in Massachusetts. Do we drive him back up here to see a doctor? So to release our intense grip and see so many more options, we had to first tell ourselves, and we had to say this repeatedly, what if there are lots of right doctors to do this? What if right here in Eastern North Carolina, there's a doctor who could do this? Was that possible? Now, ironically enough, the surgeon in Massachusetts who did do the surgery definitely thought that we could get a doctor in North Carolina to do it. Now, our insurance didn't agree, but that's another story. We had to calm our heads and our bodies to lower the hormones and the adrenaline so we could actually take in the information to make a measured and informed decision. Now, we noticed and we found several doctors there who we were very comfortable with doing the surgery. Our accepting that there were lots of right choices calmed our nerves and helped us see many more avenues to our desired outcome, which was healing our son's hand. Now, next, we get to decide what is right. So not only are there lots of rights here, but when we really had to make the decision on the doctor and the course of action, we mentally, and my husband and I did verbally to each other too, but mentally we told ourselves that we were right. And we stuck to that. We didn't look for outside validation. Well, we had done some research, of course. We had gotten second opinions. We had talked to pediatricians, but we did that from a calm place, not from a panicked place. Now, our insurance did tell us that they wouldn't pay in North Carolina. So part of the decision was also choosing what would be the right financial choice. And we did return to Massachusetts, or my husband brought him back up to Massachusetts. But then we also got to tell ourselves, and see, this came from internally, that having my husband and my son drive home for the surgery was the right thing for them to do. We got to decide that. Now, maybe if circumstances were different, we would have chosen something else, but we had the power to just decide that we made the right choice. Okay, now third, what are we afraid of if somehow we make the wrong choice? What was I making it mean if we made the wrong choice for our son? Well, I was projecting a whole lot of future worry and a whole lot of my own security and lack of worth onto this decision. And when I caught it, I reminded myself, I make the right decisions with the information I have at the time. And we told ourselves there is no wrong. Another thought that went through my head was, well, will people criticize me or judge us for staying here for the surgery? Now, in the end, he did have to go back to Massachusetts, but I saw how my head went into other people's heads for a moment, and I had to reel myself back into my space, into my lane. My job is to validate what is my right and wrong. Now, fourth, to release our grip, we have to constantly remind ourselves that when other people make decisions or choose their right, and it's different than our right, it's still okay. When someone chooses something different or something other than what we choose, this doesn't call into question our right. Confidence and security are rooted in respecting other people's decisions, and that their decisions are all about them and are not a reflection on our decision about what's right or wrong. We can all have different opinions, and guess what? Sometimes we can all be right. Other parents might have different rules. Some allow or don't allow sleepovers. Some have different times of curfews or no curfew at all. Some mothers or fathers work full time and others don't work. Some of us have certain family or household rules, and others have different rules. They're all okay. We need to respect each other. Now, one refreshing change with COVID and this quarantine is people have been forced to do things differently. Everyone has had to celebrate in new ways, have meetings, church, meals. We've had to loosen grips on what's the right way to have a wedding, to have a graduation party, to vacation, to exercise. how to work from home or not. We're all being forced to create our new right. Me thinking that my way is the only right way creates judgment and criticism in me. It doesn't do anything for the person I'm judging. I have much less space for love and empathy and understanding when I think my way is the right way. When I take down the blinders and clear off this cloudy lens of seeing others, suddenly I connect to other humans. I respond differently. I'm not focused on defending my point of view, but rather I'm engaged in learning about other people. I expand my circle, my knowledge. I create more grace for myself and others. In the words of Aaron Burr in Hamilton, speak less, smile more. Okay, side note, if you aren't watching Hamilton over and over on Disney Plus, you really should be. And watch it with closed captioning. I'm addicted. It's amazing. Okay. When we smile and listen, we can hear and see other people more fully, since we aren't always trying to defend our insecure ground. This is what we don't see when we have these I am right blinders on. We don't see that other people are different than us, that they're experiencing life with different challenges, different circumstances, different perspectives or opinions, and that they deserve the same respect as ourselves. We don't see other options, solutions, or paths to the same end goal. And we don't see that we have control over validating and reinforcing our decisions. And one of the biggest blind spots we create is we miss seeing and embracing that making mistakes is okay. Really, we can all drop the idea of wanting perfect or always wanting to be right when we realize part of life is actually going to be doing things wrong from time to time. We start living. We start actually growing, taking risks, connecting with others. And little by little, we shed some of this weight of anxiety and stress. We stop white knuckling through life. And we're open to just experiencing all of the emotions and feelings coming our way. We become people who are much more concerned with being kind than being right. We start looking for ways to love and serve others instead of, dang it, I'm always right, and why the heck are you always doing things wrong? And there are times when we have to choose between being right or being kind. Now, one final thought. Much of our fear of making wrong choices is firmly rooted in our innate fear of failing our children. A fear that we are somehow a bad mom, that any bad decision will put our children on a different path than they're meant to be on. What if we're wrong about all of that? What if our children's greatest blessings and gift is having imperfect parents? What's the upside to believing anything other than that? What if us being right and being wrong and allowing lots of right choices is really what's going to help them reach their potential? I really challenge you to question everything you believe is right about being a good or a bad mom and allow yourself to make lots of right choices. And also make mistakes along the way and still know you are good and worthy and lovable and completely perfect and actually amazing. I help women see this in themselves every day, every week. It's an honor and a humble privilege. When you're ready to develop a deeper sense of confidence, sign up for a free consult call on HeidiBenjaminSinn.com. Do it now and model this for your children. Learn to manage your emotions now. Let them see you learning and growing just as you are. You've always hired coaches for them. Now it's time for you to have a coach, and I would be honored to be yours. Have a great week.